Want to know the story of an abusive mother? Annalle was a young girl born in a small town in Michigan. She was known to help her father out on their farms on most days. But inside, he was manipulative, impulsive, abusive, and alcoholic. One day, Annalle wanted to go outside to, catch some fresh air. But her father said no while drunk on his couch. Annalle argued back, saying, "Why do you always keep me in my room and beat on me?" Her father, being very stubborn, instantly smacked her, feeling as if she was talking back. Years later, she hears her father died of diabetes. The news was joyful and somewhat hurtful. Since he was still her father, he had been more aggressive since the death of her mother, which would later scar their daughter. Annalle is now in her mid-20s when she spots a man who catches her eye. He sees her too and give each other a look. They start to approach each other and hang out in the coffee shop where they first meet. Soon, things get spicy. 2 years from that, they're dating and live together in Detroit. Annalle is finally experiencing happiness and smiling at someone for the first time. The year is now November 19th, 2004. Annalle is pregnant with a girl 9 months later who they named Jamie with Lilisa as the last name. You're probably wondering when this happened. Her and David have done the Boombaya 9 months ago in their happy moment. Annalle has a girl with her and her husband's brown hair. Their kid has blue eyes, which David and Annalle have brown. Annalle is pregnant again. But when this happens, her and David are starting marriage problems. Even when she thought she found happiness, it turned out to lead to more problems. She's afraid he will leave her, and the probability that she won't afford needs to her children. Alexander Lilisa is Annalle's second child, but she is violent towards him, often leaving him outside in the freezing cold when he does something bad for up to hours. Alexander even asks his sister for help at times, but she herself, even though treated better, Annalle is also violent but in a verbal way. In a cold morning, Alexander gets hypothermia and dies on the ground outside. David is always at work, so he didn't know what was going on this whole time. Annalle tortures Jamie and Alex behind his back every day. She, who hated her father, had become just like him. Annalle's marriage was always constant arguing leading to this. David arrives earlier than expected, and Annalle is surprised. Caught red-handed, David becomes furious and leaves her for good and calls the police for murder. Annalle gets arrested, but later found she had been diagnosed with breast cancer. She decides to reach out to Jamie to visit on her last moments. Jamie says "F you" to her mother, and she doesn't visit her. The torment was deeply embedded since those years. Jamie now has found a new life away from Detroit and in another to her mother. Jamie says "F you" to her mother, and she does. Jamie says "F you" to her mother, and she doesn't visit her. The torment was deeply embedded since those years. Jamie now has found a new life away from Detroit and in another in central Michigan. The start of a hero. The end.